You're listening to the Black Eagles podcast.
Ahmet Dursun Sergen aldı. Sergen Bülent yan yana. Sergen Bülent. Sergen. Yanında Tümer var. Tümer'e doğru attı. Kaybetti. Tümer topu aldı. Sergen aldı. Gol. Sergen attı. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi.
İbrahim'in pası. Zuma. Şimdi Ahmet. İkinci gole gidiyor Beşiktaş. Ahmet.
And welcome back, everybody. This is, of course, episode 226 of the Black Eagles podcast. And of course, I'm your host, right, Sinan, back again, live from New York City, where spring looks like it's here, but winter is just holding out. It's just not quite getting as warm as you'd hope for, right? Metaphor always extends. We have a match. We had a match, I guess we could say. It was important in the way that every match can be important for us, right? As far as maybe getting a spot in the Conference League goes. But also, late season, out of the championship run. You know, the main way in which it's important is that we have a new coach who gets to see what he's got, right? He can't be ecstatic so far. Well, so first of all, there's a bit of news. But before I even get to that, let me quickly apologize. I'm a day, maybe two even, if you're going to be semantic about it. A little late with this one. I was on vacation in D.C., which was nice with the family and all. A little warmer down there. Some sightseeing, but I'm back, and I am here for you folks to do this episode.
Operation is in effect as of right now.
So, with the news, first of all, and so, of course, the Sorloth talk continues to come in hot and heavy. Supposedly we're meeting with his management. It's going well. That's all, supposedly, right? Like, it's got to be given weight, that particular word, because you never know what's really going on. Besides the Sorloth talk, which, like I said, sounds positive, superficially, but it's also way too soon for us to even, the price that they would want for him should be too high if you think about it reasonably, so shouldn't get too excited. There's also talk of Jed Wallace, a winger / central midfielder. He is playing for Millwall in England, right? He's 28. Championship caliber player. I mean, you can't, Millwall's not having a particularly great season. You can't say that means the player himself is no good, right? He could be the best player on a poor team, right? Like Rashid Ghazal is currently, right? We obviously have a need for someone on that left wing. So, if he's the man, that's the talk of the town anyway. But, again, way too soon. One thing I will say is that the hot story that was coming in last week was that we were looking at Jackson Mukele. And supposedly, we were looking at him, and so might have been Fennec, which would be typical. With that said, it's worth noting that he's a sort of failure at Standard, which is why they kind of let him go for so little. Kasımpaşa paid a nominal fee, 150,000 or something, and there's a €3 million buyout clause on his contract. So, for all intents and purposes, he is a Kasımpaşa player. Now, that doesn't mean you couldn't, they used a $3 million extension, and we offer to pay more than that, right? To buy him off of Kasımpaşa. That always exists as a possibility. I don't know if anyone remembers, Kasımpaşa famously gave charity to rivals. Mametiam to Fener. I forgot the favor they did to Galatasaray, but then they never really extended that to us. Supposedly they're going to give us Fode Koita for a cut rate deal. Instead, he goes to Trabzon. Excuse me. Bit of allergies, so that's also why I'm late this week. We did a big spring cleaning after we came back from DC, and I think it kicked up dust. If Emir's out there, we were supposed to meet up to watch. My allergies were flaring up on match day. But anyway, what also flared up, with the news that we were looking at Jackson Muleka, I did a bit of research. I watched his highlights, and yeah, let's just say I had a bad feeling about this one. I intentionally, was half doing some work in the background during this Beşiktaş match because I had a bad feeling. I really did. Someone on a motorcycle out there making a lot of noise. If you hear that, my apologies. I don't know what it is about motorcycle dudes, but it seems to be a theme. They like making noise to get your attention. Anyway. So yeah. Let's talk about this match. So basically, I watched highlights of Jackson Muleka because we were supposedly interested in maybe buying him. And in the process, I psyched myself out of this match. It's worth noting, and I mentioned this in the last podcast, Kasımpaşa is on fantastic form coming into this one. Or should say they had been on fantastic form. They lost against Fatih Karagümrük, but that's not. So last week, they had defeated Adana Demirspor 4-0. Muleka scoring twice. Prior to that, they lost to Fatih Karagümrük in Istanbul 3-2. But so before that, they had won 4 in a row. They beat Gaziantep at home, Yeni Malatya on the road, Rize at home, and Göztepe on the road. Now, all of those teams are battling for relegation, especially back then. They were all still alive, in theory. So all of those are fairly impressive victories. And what it means for Beşiktaş is that going into our match, they had won 5 of their last 6 matches, and they're looking good. And of course, Jackson Muleka was no small part of that. He had 9 goals in 9 matches. I think he'd scored in 6 in a row or something. So, and yeah, if you watch the highlights, he's just sort of an engine, and he gets him to the right place. And he's just in a bit of form right now where, it just seems like any contact off of his boot, if he's in the box, the ball's gonna find the back of the net if it needs to. So, lots to be worried about going into this one, for sure. For anyone curious about our head-to-head, previously we drew earlier in the year, in December. Even during the free fall for us, we managed to draw Kasımpaşa. They were pretty poor in the first half of the season. They've really picked it up. Historically, we have a very good record against Kasımpaşa. Last year, we split it. We each won one of our matches. So, not necessarily to be sort of written off, right? But, I don't know. You would have excused Kasımpaşa relaxing at this point. They'd won enough games where they're very secure with where they are on the table. They don't have a ton to play for, right? They really didn't. I mean, unless placing above Galatasaray down, in 11th place is a priority for them. I don't know, you would have excused them relaxing. And I think Beşiktaş, in theory, has more to play for, right? All these guys would or should want to impress their new coach. So let's talk about the lineups. For Beşiktaş, Ersin Destanoğlu in goal. Wellington is back from his suspension alongside Vida and Montero. Valentin Rosier and Ridvan Yilmaz on opposite sides as wingbacks, of course. Joseph De Souza and Miralem Pjanic in the midfield. John Bozdoğan, a late scratch. Minor injury. Michy Batshuayi up top with Rashid Ghazal on the right flank and Guven Yalçın on the left. Now, this is interesting and good. I think a lot of people have been calling for that. People were worried that he might have valued Kenan above Gouven. A lot of people wanted to see a change from Alex Teixeira to see what we have. Gouven's young. We need to decide if we're going to pay this kid right going forward. So there's a lot in the balance. I think it's the right decision. He offers some attack, right? Again, at the very least, it's just we can see what he looks like in that front three that Valérien Ismail wants to implement. With that said, were the results ideal? That's another question. That's another issue. So in their goal, of course, and for they, I mean Kasımpaşa, right? 32-year-old Turk Ertuğrul Taşkiran. On their back line, Uros Spajic, 29-year-old Serbian, next to Ryan Donk, 36-year-old Suriname defender, or Dutchman, depending on whatever. Right back, Florent Hadergionaj, 27-year-old Kosovan, opposite Evren Eren El Male, 21-year-old Turk. Dojan Haspolat, 22-year-old Dutch Turk, is in the back of their midfield behind Valentin Ayserik, 30-year-old Frenchman, and Haris Hayradinovic, 28-year-old Bosnian. On their right side, Mamadou Fall, 30-year-old Senegalese midfielder, opposite left winger Mortada Ben Ouanes, 27-year-old left winger from Tunisia. All of them playing behind 22-year-old Congolese striker Jackson Muleka. I've already said enough about this kid. And you'll see why. So, let's dig into this match, I guess. If we must, right? So, early on it's clear this is going to be a weird game, honestly. Not a lot of exciting stuff going either way. We look kind of okay in the back, for the most part, initially. But we're also kind of, that same clumsiness, we look like we're in slow-mo sometimes for some reason, especially when we're going on the attack. And, you'll see guys make, nice little plays with their feet, dribble into a little space and then miss-touch. Gouven Yeltsin had a poor pass after a classy bit of footwork. He was doing a bunch of that. Early on he was disappointing, and then he started to find his footing, and I mean that kind of as a pun, right? He was doing all these nice little things with his feet, but then the end result still was just not quite there. First real action in the 19th minute, Ridvan sends in a cross from sort of the deep on the left side after it's been bouncing around in our possession for a little while. He finds Michy Batshuayi in the box. We can't really do anything with it, but he sort of salvages play by heading it back up into the air into the path of Wellington. It's a high, loopy header, and it drops onto the foot of Wellington. Wellington tries for a volley strike, raging effort from a good bit of distance, just outside of the box, but enough that you might have hoped he'd try to control it a little better before taking the shot. He gets a lot of foot on it, if you will, but he sends it just high over the bar. Kind of situation where it's early in the game. We could have just had a great opportunity there, honestly. And you don't think of it. It's whatever. The game is early. It's fine. Take a shot, see what you can do. But then you think about it in retrospect, and I don't know. Kind of need to score whenever you get that opportunity, right? Apologies for the siren in the background. It keeps coming off and on. It's someone's joyride, apparently. So, the next real action would be Joseph de Souza getting himself a yellow card. Whatever. But from there, the next one would be a corner kick for Kasımpaşa in the 27th minute. He'd send it out kind of shallow, not really sending in the cross. But that dude, whoever that was, I don't even recall, would send it in to someone's head. And from there, I think it was Hayradinovic, perhaps, Spajic. But yeah, so he heads it right into the path of Mukele, who, again, just the right touch at the right time, sends it past our keeper. Not much Everton could have done with this one. Really got undone by good play from them. Sort of a well-constructed corner. And they seem to have some interesting set-piece construction, so that might have been, part of their approach here. But there it was, a goal. 27th minute, they were down 0-1. And, we've been the better side, no doubt about it. But all it takes is a set-piece, right? Pjanic got the yellow card in the 35th. Ersin one in the 36th. Jackson Mukele gets one in the 36th. And then right before the half, talk about luck, right? I mean, so we're down a goal despite the fact that really there have been just 2 chances in this match so far, and theirs on a set piece. And here's one out of completely just total left field. Florent Hader-Guionaj from deep on the right side of their defense sends a long ball forward, and it could have been a clearance, although it looked like there was a plan at work here. Sends it over our defense. Ersin kind of comes out to collect it, doesn't reach it because he sees Mortada Ben Juanes racing forward to get onto it first. So much wrong, defensively speaking. Vida just completely caught in no man's land first, and then Ersin caught in no man's land. Shortly thereafter, Mortada gets onto the end of it, just completely lofted from the back and over our defense, and he just raced onto it, gets there first, and then because Ersin's in no man's land, having not come out far enough to get the ball, or not stayed in, not had the discipline to sort of stay back, it's just an easy lob from Mortada into the back of the net. And there it is, the first minute of extra time of the half. And now we're down 2 goals. 2 chances for them. 2 goals. So that's it at the half. Emirhan comes on for Guven. Umut Merash for Ridvan Yilmaz. Ridvan had a pretty poor half, honestly. Just too amped up. Maybe he knew scouts were in the stands. Whatever it was. But we came out in the second half, and I think we had almost exactly the right response. The only real opportunities to come of it that I recall, Joseph sends just A+ ball from sort of deep in the right side, using the outside of his foot, just perfect backspin directly into the path of Umut Merash, who instead of controlling the ball and crossing it, sort of poorly controls the ball and sends in a shot and skies it. Terrible decision on his part, but fantastic stuff from Joseph, no doubt there. 68th minute, Emirhan Ilkan does the right thing, sends it wide to the right to Nkudu, who also, I didn't think he had an angle to get a shot off. He does a nice little dummy with his foot, sends it in, on target, forces a save from Ertuğrul. Okay, now you're talking. We should have scored by now, right? Sort of the 68th minute, but you like the initiative. By now, Spajic got himself a yellow card in the 56th. Domagoj Vida got himself a yellow card in the 61st. Kenan Karaman has entered the match for Michy Batshuayi, but there's just no one else to come on at this point. And Kudu came on for Domagoj Vida, which is interesting. We're doing something in the back that's not so clear. Maybe Joseph to the back line or something. Anyway, Montero got himself a yellow card in the 68th minute. Right around that when that chance dropped to Nkudu. Then Ryan Donk got himself a yellow card in the 78th. Awer Mabil came on for them for Mamadou Fall in the 80th. Tomas Brejka for Spajic. And then the 82nd minute or 81st, disaster strikes. Umut Merash. It's happened before, but last time he had been fouled, I thought. This time he just didn't do well with it. He gets the ball sort of nicked off him by Hajradinovic, who does well. A couple nice smart dribbles to sort of evade the defense, and then send in a perfect cross to the path of Jackson Muleka, who stays onside with great discipline. Gets the ball pretty much one-on-one, puts it where it needs to go. It's 3-0 in the 81st, and they have iced it. This game is iced. We are done. It sucks. It really sucks. But Hajradinovic, man, he had a masterful match, no doubt. Obviously, Muleka, too. 82nd minute, Kyle Larin comes on for Miralem Pjanic. 84th minute, Rayane Abid comes on for Mortada. The goal scorer, Tunay Torun for Valentin Ayserik, and Umut Bozok on for Jackson Muleka. He's not allowed to get his hat trick. 90th minute, Ryan Abid gets the yellow card. In the 86th minute, Rashid Ghazal, masterful ball into the path of Joseph de Souza, who has a one-on-one, and it's saved. Not particularly inspiring finish from Joseph. Nice run and perfect setup from Rashid Ghazal. 94th minute, Kanem Karaman with a perfect cross into the path of Kyle Larin, who's wide open in front of the goal. He heads it down wide. Like, he's sitting on sort of the right side of the goal, and he heads it down in wide left. So I don't even know how he misses it. It's like an open goal. But it's fitting, I suppose. That's the match. We lose 0-3 at home against Kasımpaşa. And it doesn't get much worse than that. It was one of the worst matches this season. I doubt anyone's going to listen to this episode because everybody will have hated that result. We had 62% of the ball to their 38. So if anyone was worried that we wouldn't be able to hold possession, there you have it. We had 15 shots to their 9, 3 big chances to their 1, and 3 big chances missed to their 0. We completed 376 passes at an 82% rate. They completed 184 at a 65% rate. We committed 16 fouls. They committed 10. We were offside 7 times to their 1. They had 5 corners to our 4. Of our 15 shots, 7 were off target, 3 were on target, 5 were blocked. They had 3 off target, 5 on target, 1 was blocked. We had 11 shots inside the box to their 6. Again, statistically fairly dominant, but also, again, nobody able to score. The highest rated players and the only good rated players were all Kasımpaşa players. Jackson Muleka, the highest rated, then Uros Spahic, Mortada Ben Uanes, Florent Hader Gionaj, Evren Eren Elmali, Haris Hajradinovic, Ryan Donk, Valentin Ayserik, Ertuğrul Taşkiran, Doğucan Haspolat, and that's it. Those are the only players rated above a 7 for the match. Highest rated player would be the next player on the list. It would be Valentin Rosier, 11th best player, rated a 6.76. Alongside Joseph de Souza, they have the same rating, but neither of them above a 7. Those are our highest rated players. So the top 10 players, all Kasımpaşa players, they all played well. Basically, almost all of their starters. I'm not going to give a man of the match. Nobody deserves any credit for this match. Maybe Emirhan for not being bad for 20 minutes. No, I don't even want to do it, honestly. Like, nobody deserves any credit for what we all witnessed. It was a terrible match that no one can be proud of. There's nothing to learn from it, except perhaps that a number of these guys need to go. Pjanic, I don't want to see him play for us again. I'm going to be blunt, that's how bad he was, in my opinion. Michy Batshuayi, man, I don't know. If he's trying to sell himself to us, he's not succeeded. Guven Yalchin, ups and downs. Even Rashid Ghazal had a sort of off day. I don't know. There's no silver lining here, honestly. This game sucked. Let's talk about the standings. So, Trabzonspor, 76 points up top. Fener, 65 points. Looking like this season's just about wrapped now. Trabzonspor just needs 1 point. They've got the 11-point lead there with 4 matches left to be played. That's a silver lining. Only 4 matches left. Third place, Konyaspor has 64 points. They're 13 points ahead of us, right? With 4 matches left, that means 12 points up for grab. We're 13 back on third place. Third place, out of reach. Fourth place is Başakşehir. They have 57 points, 6 points ahead of us. Not very likely, right? They need to lose 2 outright, and we need to win 2. Those same 2 that they lost, and then obviously that means just winning out. Which at this point, like, I don't know, we can't beat anybody. Fifth place, which could still be in Europe in theory, right? Because Trabzon could do the double. They have 52 points to our 51. That's Adana Demirspor, and Alanya is also above us. We stayed pat at 7th somehow. But so Adana Demir and Alanya both have 52 points. We have 51. We want 5th place at least. I mean, ideally we could still go for 4th. We're only 6 points back there, but again, only 4 matches left to be played. And for anyone who's unaware, our next match against Kayserispor, Sunday, May 1st, this coming Sunday, 9 a.m. here in New York City. So check your local listings. It's an early match. We don't even have the big match of the day. I think that goes to Galatasaray on Sunday. So the mighty have fallen. But then, yeah, next Sunday on May 8th, Beşiktaş will be hosting Fenerbahçe 1 p.m. here in New York City. The following Sunday after that, we'll be in Izmir to play Göztepe, also 1 p.m. And then finally, we'll wrap the season up against Konyaspor at home. Won't be worth anything to us because we can't catch them at all. And looks like they're cruising into 3rd place, frankly. But I think they could still be playing for 2nd on the other hand. So if we beat Fener and lost to Konya, that would be fun as far as that goes. At least keep Fener out of the Champions League. But yeah, besides that, we got nothing really to go for. I'd preview the Kayserispor match, but you know, honestly, for what, right? Their leading goal scorer is Mario Gavranovic. Andrea Bertolacci, 31-year-old Italian, is catching up to him. Mehmet Tiam found a third life with Kayseri. He's also got 10 goals. He's actually level with Gavranovic. They have a number of scorers, plenty for us to be afraid of, unfortunately, especially given our current run of form. But you know, it's not like they're playing particularly well. They drew their last match against Antalya, a hot Antalya, but then they'd lost to Trabzon before that. They'd lost to Rize before that. Or sorry, they'd drawn Rize before that. They beat Göztepe, but they got crushed by Fener. You'd like to think we could beat them, but why should we think that at this point? And I'm not holding Valérien Ismail responsible. I think we have a sort of, this is what you call the lame duck session, right? Half of these guys are not going to be with us next year. Many of them not even on contract. So, like, it's just biding time till these guys are out. And, like, unfortunately, there's enough cases like that where, like, there aren't enough guys who are fighting to impress the coach or fighting to sort of earn a spot on the roster next year or anything like that. So, it's just a lot of guys with very little to play for. And, unfortunately, it's showing. That you might put on the coach. But, on the other hand, I mean, like, Pjanic, what's he got left to play for at this point? I don't think he should, honestly. I'd like to see Emirhan play. He looked good. Hand it over to the kids, honestly. Why not? Let's be productive with this time. But with that said, I'm out. Peace out, everyone. Follow us on Twitter at Eagles _ podcast. Black Eagles Podcast, one word on Instagram. Follow myself at Sir _ Rights _ a lot. And of course, let's go Beşiktaş! Peace out, everybody.
Şimdi Bobo'nun önüne. Bobo aldı. Bobo girdi. Bobo. Bobo çok babasın. Çok harikasın. Çok güzelsin. Harika. Bobo. 2-0. 2-0. 2-0. 2-0. Lovren geldi.
Beşiktaş International hopes you enjoyed this program.